We're going to start with the jack up here at the front first. It has an on and off button for the LED lights, an up and down stroke, and an emergency cap on top in case the jack won't go up or down on its own. It does have a manual crank handle, and on the paperwork on the countertop on the inside of the trailer that will manually crank it up or down, on or off the vehicle if for any reason it won't work on its own. Two 20-pound propane cylinders with a glass eye. Arrow on the side here pointing towards this tank, the one we worked off of when we serviced the trailer. Eye turned green on the inside. As soon as this tank on this side would happen to come empty, it's going to turn red inside the eye. If the other cylinder's already open, it'll automatically pick up from it. Still going to show you red in the glass eye that the tank that it's pointed to is empty and it's having to work off the other one. Then all you have to do is switch it over to that one, work off of that one while you take this one to town and have it refilled. Does have a set of LED lights up underneath here. It is in the front compartment on the front door side. I'll show you that when we get over to that side. Does have the 4 BL jacks on all 4 corners. Does have a manual crank handle mounted to the wall for manually cranking those up and down. It also has a battery disconnect on the left hand side at the top to keep the battery from losing charge while you're not using the camper. And it also has a solar panel readout on the bottom of that compartment. The solar panels will put out 14.4 volts to the batteries to keep them charged while not being used. First gray tank back is for the kitchen sink water that drains the kitchen sink water out. The drain for the freshwater tank is right here between the axles. It is the one with the white valve on it for draining the freshwater tank. The lug nuts on the trailer has been torqued at 100 foot-pounds, is what's recommended on the side. The tires are air ducted pressure, which is 65 pounds on the side of the tire cold, and they do have the nitro gas in them instead of having air in them. If you're out on the road, one would have to come empty. You can put air in on top of it, but if you want the pure nitro fill, you have to take it back to like a Plaza Tire or car dealership. 2 more valves here in the back. The first gray tank in the front will run the bathroom shower and sink. The second valve in the back is for the toilet water only. The next compartment back is the outside of the hot water heater. It is 110 and propane. The 110 switch is in the lower left-hand corner on the outside of the unit. The gas switch is going to be on your monitor panel on the inside. Also has an anode rod that draws all the impurities out of the water to it, eats up the rod instead of eating up the inside of the tank. Anytime the steel rod in the center showing, it's time to replace it. But it is also your drain line for the hot water heater. You never want to turn on electric or gas unless you know that it's full of water by popping the pop-off valve and making sure water comes out of the top of it. As we come around to the side, it does have a 30-amp service cord. It does have a blue light on the cord indicating it's got power going into it. Also prep for a backup camera up top. If you want to put the backup camera, the wiring's already there. Outside shower gives you hot and cold running water at the back of the trailer. It does have a spare tire that's been aired at the pressure, but it's not been torqued on, it's been put on with a wrench. You do have a park cable hookup and a satellite hookup at the back of the trailer. On your water fill, you have a black tank flush in the top, a city water connect on the left hand side, and a fresh tank fill on the right hand side. Anytime that you would hook up to any one of the 3 connections, it needs to have a water regulator on the water hose going into the trailer to cut the water pressure down to 41 to 45 pounds of pressure. It does have 2 low water drain points on this corner of the trailer back here. Those are used for winterizing and dewinterizing of the trailer. We're going to skip right by the steps for a minute. It does have the 2 outside speakers. I have to show you more about how to turn the speakers on and off from the inside of the stereo. The next vent down is for your stove vent to work. For the stove vent to work properly, the 2 tabs have to be lifted up on the flapper, allows the flapper to flap. When you're in travel, you'll want to push those back down and lock it back into place. There is a place on the outside of the trailer that you can bring the TV from the inside to the out, slides down in the same bracket on the outside of the trailer as it does on the inside. It does have a 110 outlet to plug the TV into, and a park cable or antenna hookup on the outside of the trailer for your cable for the TV. We do have a dog latch on the side. outside of the furnace. This furnace will suck cold air in the top, hot air out the bottom. I always suggest putting a mud dauber screen over the outside of the furnace for the simple fact that it's easier to spend $14 for a mud dauber screen than it is to pay $145 an hour for me to take the furnace out and clean the daubers out of it. Once it's been lit on propane, they will go to that area because they love that smell for some reason. Build their little dirt nest on the inside and it cuts your airflow down. In the front compartment over here on this side, there is a cover for the electric jack motor on the front. There is a compartment light on the front wall and a black switch. The black switch actually turns the LED lights on the front cap on. Now that we got the trailer all set up, we're going to go to the inside. We're going to open the door. It's fully extended open. The steps are going to be mounted up into the door frame, held on by a little blue handle. We're going to pull the blue handle, the steps come out. There's a push button underneath each one of the legs. There's 15 to 18 holes in the legs that are for adjusting the steps for a proper fit. The main thing on the steps is once it comes out and lays down, it has to lay flat in the threshold. That way when the door shuts over the top of it, it gives it enough clearance. We're going to step into the unit. We do have a working fire extinguisher on the left hand side in your breaker box. Breaker box is marked with the breakers from the top to the bottom, what they are on this side. Car fuses are on this side from the top to the bottom. The first 5 of them are lights. We're going to go ahead and run that slide ring out. Before you run the slide ring out, you need to make sure there's nobody parked up against the side of you or a tree. While we're back here towards the bathroom, we're going to go ahead and show you. It does have a light switch on the wall that turns the light above us on. It has 2 hidden panels in the bathroom area. One is for the hot water heater in the back. On the hot water heater, it has 2 white valves, one on the hot side, one on the cold side, that are for winterizing and de-winterizing of the trailer. And also access to your outside shower. Underneath this cabinet is where your water pump and bypass is for the water pump. It's got 1 white valve on it that changes the flow of the water from the tank to the hose with the cap on the end of it for winterizing. We also have a GFI outlet by the bathroom sink that runs all the outlets in the trailer, and a USB port right beside of it. On the toilet, it has a single foot flush on the right hand side. Should have directions on the lid how to fill it halfway full of water before you use it, and dumps and goes all the way through. As we come back up into here, we're going to go on this side, do our monitor panel. For the readings on it, the freshwater tank is showing you that it is empty. The battery compartment showing you that it is fully charged. Black tank, which is your toilet water, is empty. Gray tank 1 is your bathroom sink and shower water. Gray tank 2 is going to be your kitchen sink water. It's marked for an auxiliary tank but does not have the auxiliary tank on the unit. Your first red button is for the water pump to turn the water pump on between the freshwater tank and the faucets. The second one is the hot water heater on gas. When you turn it on, the little red light on the door side fault light comes on. It's going to stay on for about a minute, then it goes off. Then the hot water heater will go through 2 lighting processes to light on gas. For any reason it does not light on gas, that little red light will come back on. It does have tank heaters underneath each one of the holding tanks underneath the trailer. Once it gets down below 32 degrees, they automatically kick on if the switch is in the on position and keeps the tanks from freezing. The first light switch turns your LED lights on the awning. The second one should turn the inside lights in the living room area on. You also have a switch to run your awning in and out, a switch to run the slide room in and out. We do have a remote for the TV, the stereo, and the fireplace. The itty bitty one's for the fireplace that turns it on and off. Then your middle-sized one should do the stereo. Stereo will also play a DVD between the stereo and the TV, and your big remote is for the TV up top. As we step past it just a little bit, it does have a working LP carbon monoxide detector underneath the fireplace. It has a microwave. On the microwave, it has a clock button. You can push the clock button, set the time on it, hit the clock button again till the 2 center eyes is flashing. We do have a fan for the stove. For the fan to work properly, the 2 tabs on the outside vent has to be open, and a light for the stovetop area itself. We're going to flip the glass stovetop up out of the way. Turn the button on the right hand side on, illuminating each one of the valves. When you turn the valve to the highlight position and light it, it also turns red. Let's turn the bottles off gas too. And on your oven, we'll do the same thing. You turn the pilot on, hold down on the button, using the same striker that lights the 3 burners up on top. We'll also light the pilot on the oven. Before you lay the glass stovetop back down, touch the griddle to make sure that it's cold to the touch of the hand before replacing the glass down on top of it. If you flip that same button to the bottom position, you also will have a light in the oven. And a pretty good drawer for pots and pans below it. 2 sets of keys for the trailer. The purple key does the lock and deadbolt on the front door. The black key does your outside compartments. And then the little silver 751 key does your outside shower. The other handle here is for the front tongue jack that goes down in the hole on the top of the jack and will manually crank the jack up or down. The 2 lights underneath the cabinet top have to be turned on by hand. Got a little push button in the center of those. We're going to come over to the switch right below the thermostat. You can only run the fireplace or the air conditioner. One down runs the air conditioner, up runs the fireplace. That's why the fireplace didn't light up a while ago when I pushed the button on it. Here again, we're going to go back to the thermostat. We're going to turn it on. It's going to give you your fan speed. You can use the high and low. Goes to cool, cool low, cool auto, and cool high. You'll dial your temperature down for it for the air conditioner to kick on. You hit the mode button one more time. It says heat in the lower left-hand corner. You'll dial your temperature up for it. Hit that mode button one more time and it should say off in the lower right-hand corner. You can't push the buttons too fast because you do, it confuses it. You can cause the furnace and air conditioner both to run at the same time. There is another place for a TV on the off-door side wall. The 2 lights above the bed have to be turned on by hand. There is a 110 outlet on the inside of the cabinet on both sides of the bed and a USB port on either side of the bed. The round vent in the ceiling brings air conditioning into the bedroom. The brown vent on the wall brings heat into the bedroom. It also has a fire escape window on the off-door side. And a pretty good storage compartment up underneath the bed. Extra towels, blankets, pillows. It does have a sliding door between the bedroom and the living room, dining room area. We're going to come back to the 12-volt refrigerator. It has 2 thermostats in it. One for your freezer temperature up at the top, which changes the temperature of the freezer, and a push button down in the bottom that changes the temperature in the refrigerator itself. And once the door is shut, it does have a travel lock that comes over, holds both doors in place while you're traveling. Couch butterflies out into a bed. There is a tabletop in the cabinet over here that will slide into the V-cut in front of the couch that holds the kitchen table in place. Stores in the main compartment, and the light above the couch has a push button in the center of it to turn it on and off. That's basically everything on the trailer. You do have quick cool downs on the air conditioner right here that opens up and lets all the cold air comes back in. Once the trailer gets cooled off, you can flip them back closed and it goes back to the round vents in the ceiling. And then we also have a smoke detector just inside the doorway on the ceiling. That's basically everything on your trailer. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer your questions the best that I can, and thank you for your time.